Experience epic painting struggles like never before. Tiny Epic Game of Thrones will test your painting prowess and tactile skills as you vie for perfect tiny miniatures. Alright, before we get to the painting video, I just want to say a great big shout out to my very first YouTube member who joined at the top tier of the Painters Club. Thank you, Andrew Coco. Much appreciated. This is a milestone for me. Sorry I missed it. It looks like it happened at the beginning of last month. I didn't realize it. I was never even notified. But anyways, a great big thank you again. And don't forget, the rest of you can join and support my channel as well and get exclusives along the way. Anyways, let's get on now to a Tiny Epic painting video. Hey everybody, it's Rob the Miniature Painter here, and of course like I said, we are painting some really tiny epic miniatures. As you can see, they are really tiny. They've been primed in an air matte white primer, and now we're going to be using speed paints to speed up this painting process, using a ton of different kind of speed paints here on almost everybody. I'm going to use one paint, show you what I do on every one of them. This is from the core game, the Kickstarter version that came with the Hand of the King expansion. I think that is an exclusive to the Kickstarter crowdfunding thing. It's got the deluxe content, as it's called. And so Tyrion and the Iron Throne are in this box, and they're in this video. So I don't know if you get the retail version. I doubt you're getting that with it, but I decided to include it in here. I also have the Heroes Pack and the, I think, what is it called? The Ice and Fire Pack, I think it's called. It's like the expansion with Daenerys, Jon Snow, and the White King. So, or the Night King. What do they call it? The Night King or the White King? I can't remember. I think it's, I don't know. Comment down below if you remember. It's been a while since I've watched the Game of Thrones, so yeah. As you can see, I'm pretty much using peachy flesh on every single piece of flesh on these tiny miniatures. And I will tell you, okay, it's maybe not the best paint job I've done, but it is pretty cool. Some of the details are a little bit lackluster on this, but you know, it is a board game. It is miniatures. I had to paint them. One of the Tiny Epic games I also have is Tiny Epic Dungeons. I never even painted the miniatures that came in there, which are not that small, to be honest, and they are amazing looking. I should really get to those eventually at some point. So yeah. Anyway, so now we're moving on to some Slaughter Red. Yes, you're going to see some of my fluffy, crazy hair pop onto the camera because I really had to get in close to see what I was painting. And at first I was using a little bit too big of a brush, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to switch over to a really tiny brush. You're going to want a small brush for these guys, and I'm going to tell you right now, speed paints is going to be a challenge on these guys because you don't have much area to work with except for when it comes to like clothing and stuff, but it is pretty crazy. So keep an eye out on that. This is a longer video because there's a whole bunch of minis in there. It did take me a long time to paint. I think it took me about, but weirdly enough, I think it took me only about an hour and some to actually paint all these miniatures, which is not bad, you know, considering the size of these miniatures and the different colors they all have. Like, they're very rich in their colors, really nice. So some people only get like a couple paints on them, others get a whole bunch of different paints on them. I didn't want to go into too many details on them. I mean, they're going to be sitting in a box. I don't know how often I'm going to play this game. I just wanted to have you guys see that even the tiniest miniature can be painted. And I know there's some smaller than this out there. I think was it Flames of War, I believe. There was like these little tanks and these little infantry guys. Well, the tanks weren't too bad, but the little infantry guys, they were so tiny. They were like the size of my finger almost. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, so we're putting a little bit of blinding light now on a lot of the models here. Hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys are enjoying painting miniatures. I hope you're enjoying the channel. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Very much appreciated. If you're not new also, well, welcome back. Hit that like button. Comment down below what you're working on. Have you received your copy of Tiny Epic Game of Thrones? Have you played? I haven't even played yet. I've got so much stuff going on. I've got commissions now for paint jobs that they're just going to start taking up a lot of my time. So videos are going to be a little bit sparse again. including like for big games like Marvel Zombies, which has been almost 2 years now working on this sucker. It's going to take a little back seat here. Fire Drake, I'm using this as leather, and on some, I think I even use it on I don't think I use it on hair yet. I don't know if I'm using it on hair for people here, but the Fire Drake, I keep forgetting it, when you look at the bottle, it's got an orangey brownish weird tone to it, but I put some toppers on my bottles that have some details on them, and then I prime those white and then put the speed paint on it so I could see exactly what it does. And I'm always impressed with Fire Drake how it creates a nice leathery effect. It can be used for wood, it could be used for weapons, but I found that for leather it does a really good job. It could be used for hair, frankly. I think it's a good color for darker brown hair. So just because it says fire in it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's red. I don't see a hint of red. I see maybe some orange, but like very, very subtle. Anyways, and for Lady, oh darn, I can't remember her name. Tyrell, Lady Tyrell, but I remember her first name. Anyways, I use that lavender, pastel lavender color just on her little drapes in the front near her hands. I couldn't find the color of her robes though perfectly, and that's going to be interesting too. Noble skin, not necessarily always a skin tone either. I also like it for leather, darker leathers. Like it for like undershirts, undergarments, boots is good for it as well. Again, like I'm going through a lot of speed paints in this one, and if you haven't used speed paints before and you can see the versatility of it, here you go. I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying they hate speed paints. I absolutely love, and what I don't get is I paint a lot of their miniatures for them with speed paints, and they absolutely loved how the miniature turned out, because I don't just normally do white. I usually do a zenithal. I do some gray with white slap chop kind of thing, no black, gray and white, just gray and white. Not make them too dark, because speed paints over dark just isn't terrific, to be honest. I just love gray and white. I find that's my perfect recipe. Or even a gray, a wash, and then a dry brush of white is even better, just to really make the white pop a bit and to get the recess a little bit darker here. See, I'm even using Noble Skin here on a fur, and like it's just showing you the versatility of these paints and what you can use them for. You can use them for furs, you can use them for skin, you can use them for all sorts of cool stuff. Gravelord Gray now is going to be another big color we're going to be using here. I'm going to be talking for a long time in this video, so I apologize if I annoy you or if you get bored of listening to me. There won't be any really timestamps because I'm not painting up one miniature at a time. I'm going through all of them, painting them with all the paint, like using Gravelord Gray and all of them, because otherwise it would have been, okay, here's Tyrion with his colors, here's what's his name? Jaime Lannister with his colors, but then the Slaughter Red would have showed up twice, and there's just no point. Might as well just do the whole thing and get ready done. Hey, if you saw my intro, a great big thank you to my very first member, Andrew Coco, who went up to the Painters Club, the top of the tier. Thank you so much. And now I got to start working on more member exclusive videos. If you guys are into that and you want to help out my channel, help me out as well, you can join even for just $2 a month. You'll get some little perks, you get some badges and stuff, you'll get some shout outs on the channel, and you can go up higher and higher and you'll get exclusive videos, you can get an advanced videos, you can get one-on-one live streams, you know, just all sorts of fun stuff for you guys and to help me out as well. Much appreciated. Still using that Gravelord Gray, going around using some on the boots, again, some on some sweaters, some on this and that, again, but Gravelord Gray is very, very pale, by the way. Now, here's something I did for fun. I wanted Jaime Lannister's armor to be a light gold. So True Brass is a metallic paint from the War Paints Fanatics range, and I added some speed paint medium to it to make it a little bit more speed painty, a little bit more runny, a little bit more liquid. And wow, what a cool idea. Actually, I didn't try this on any other metallics before, but I figured, you know what, let's try it on this, and it does a great job. It doesn't make the armor too crazily pop, but it's there, you know. And so you can try this again. You can use speed paint. It's better than just a regular stabilizer, the retarder that it comes with the Fanatics. I find the speed paint media has a different consistency and makes any Warpaint Fanatic become a speed paint kind of thing. So if you're missing some colors or whatever in a speed paint range, you can just take a Fanatics paint, add some speed paint medium, and there you go. All right, we're back to Lady Tyrell here. We're putting this beautiful lizard folk cyan on her. It's a little bit lighter blue. It's got a green tint to it. It was very hard to figure out the color she had. This is where maybe a Fanatics paint would have been better with the speed paint medium in it. But I know how a lot of you guys watch my channel for how I speed paint stuff, and yeah, so I'm using the speed paint. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, you can use Warpaint's Fanatics, add a bit of speed paint medium to them, and you might as well create a new speed paint. I'm using pastel yellow for the blonde hair of Jaime Lannister, and you can see I'm going to use a different color hair for Tyrion, because you remember in the books and in the series they actually said that because he was like a monster, a monstrosity, he didn't have the pure blonde hair, which always made you wonder if he really is a Lannister, you know? I wonder if any of that has been like discussed and stuff. I'm sure it has been, but anyway, so I'm using warrior skin. Instead of using it as skin, I'm actually using it for hair color, and I find it does a great job for the hair. Robert Baratheon, now I think he was supposed to have black hair if I'm not mistaken, but in the artwork it was kind of brownish, so I went with that. And here's Tyrion right now getting that brown hair, but it gives it a bit of a light color. And I tried doing the eyebrows with the speed paint. That was a mistake. Don't do super finely detailed areas with speed paint, because you're just gonna mess it up more. So I should have came in with another kind of paint or whatever, maybe even a war paints, and just did some of those highlights on the beards and facial stuff and that anyways. But you know what, they're tiny, you don't see them up, you're not gonna look at them up close like crazy, and you'll get what you need to get out of these miniatures. Yeah, glittering loot is our next metallic speed paint we're going to be using here. We're putting this on the crown here. You can we put some on Jaime Lannister. We're going to put this on the top of his goblet here. You know, just simple paint job. This is what's fun about painting a batch like this. It's not batch painting really, because you have so many different miniatures. So you got different textures to deal with, different colors, different variations and stuff like that, different sizes, different outfits. It really makes a big difference on how you take your paint. Like this runic gray here, I'm using it just for Eddard Stark's cloak, you know, or for the fur part of his cloak. And then I'm pretty much going to be doing all the leather parts with hardened leather. So I'm going to come back in, get all the leather parts. This is probably one of the longer parts of this. Or is it Grim Black maybe too? I don't know. But I mean, they're pretty long. You know, this video is probably a little longer than you're used to. But you get to see how I paint all of these tiny epic miniatures. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Again, if you haven't hit the like button yet, go ahead and do that. It helps YouTube spread the love around and show my videos to people out there that might actually want to learn to paint without being frustrated at the level of details that some painters on the YouTubes there go through and tell you it's easy, but they spent almost 3 hours on one miniature. I bet you give them these miniatures, it would take them 10 days to paint them, because they would go into every little nook and cranny, every little detail possible, and try to make everything pop and all that, every little strand of hair be perfectly golden color and stuff. I am not like that. I am a typical painter who wants to get these miniatures done quickly, because I've got a backlog, and I'm talking about a backlog of games and tabletop games that I've gotten into and so on. And there goes Tyrion off the table. Yeah, the problem with not having a tiny holder for these, I could have used the ones I printed with a little bit of tack tape, but I figured, you know what, the bases are okay to hold. But then I realized, no, you know what, they're kind of hard to hold. And I have the shakes in my hands too, so holding them like this was not a good idea sometimes. I mean, hey, you do what you can, right? I really should have just used the holders with the tacky tape, or tacky gum, tacky whatever it's called, wacky tacky. Anyways, hey, I forgot her. Is it Olenna, her name? No, Helena Tyrell? I can't remember. Anyways, you guys can put it in the comments later on. Grim Black is pretty much going to be, I think, one of the final colors, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, no, it's going to be the silver for all the swords and that. Again, Grim Black is going to be a little bit longer here. As Ned Stark, we're doing the whole, his whole cape in that. But what's fun is with the Grim Black is that as it dries, and as you can see, it gets a little bit more grayish, gets a little bit more opaque. The top raised areas are going to pop out a little bit more. You got to put it on thick so you don't get no coffee staining. But it is a great paint and does a great job covering, again, over white especially. I'm going to be doing the shirt here of Euron Greyjoy. I do some other hair of someone else. I think I did a beard with someone else too. Anyways, I'm doing his boots here on this guy. Now, this was funny. I was looking at this guy's boots, and I found that his feet were disproportionate to the rest of the model. And there was some things like that too. I think there was some hands at one point. They were a little bit bigger, it seemed. Anyways, you're not talking about Warhammer, or you're not talking about CMON miniatures here. You're talking about tiny epic games that rarely have miniatures in their game. So, I mean, the first one I saw with miniatures was Tiny Epic Dungeons. And like I said, I haven't painted those yet, and I should. But then there was these ones, and I'm like, I'm going to paint these. Game of Thrones is popular. Tiny Epic games are popular. You know, it's always fun to get something out there that people might actually be painting and want to look for. And I hope that this is a game that you are intending on painting, and that you find my guide, and that it helps you out and future painting endeavors that you may take. Also, I know I'm said I'm always going to stick to board game stuff and all that, but I just love painting Warhammer miniatures because they're so beautiful to paint. Not because I love Warhammer and Games Workshop charges a fortune for miniatures. Also, the Lord of the Rings stuff is super nice. Gotten into the Middle-earth strategy battle game recently. I just want to know what you guys think of those games, and if you think it'd be worth seeing more of them on the channel or not, or should I just stick to the membership only stuff. Anyways, you can see I'm doing the entirety of the Iron Throne in this Grim Black, and once it dried, I actually gave it a dusting of some silver, but very dark. Actually, I think it was actually the broadsword silver, if I'm not mistaken. I don't show it on here, but I think I just grab a little bit, dry it off a bit, and then just go quickly over the chair, just to give it a bit of a hint of a glim to it, more metallic look to it, but it still looks amazing as the Iron Throne. I find it looks good. I just toss on some wash on the bases. You're not going to see me do that. I think it's just a light soft tone maybe, or a light tone. Anyways, we're finishing off these miniatures. I don't remember how many there were in total. We'll see here now how many there are. 9? If I'm seeing that right. Yeah, 9 miniatures, including a chair. Anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.